Hey guys, my name is Kevin Stiller and I wanted to make a video summary of this new wireless follow focus I've been using. It's called the Ikan PD Remote Air 3 or the Ikan PD Remote Air Pro. I've been using it for the past 2 months or so, and I've got to say I am very impressed by this unit. I've used it on shoots everywhere from your tiny run and gun, can't set marks down kind of shoots up to like full Alexa builds, throwing marks on the ground, setting distances, frequent battery swaps, the whole deal. And in every scenario so far, this unit has performed almost flawlessly, which has been a total opposite experience than many other wireless follow focuses I've been using on the market at this price point. So inside the kit, if you get the 3-axis version of this set, you'll notice that there is one motor that has a LCD screen on it, and that is how you know that this is the master of the 3 motors. And this is part of my favorite thing that is included in this kit, and it's that the receiver, or the MDR, is actually built into the master motor of this set, so that you don't need any extra accessories or mounting points. All you have to do is mount the single motor on one of the rods, and this communicates directly to the transmitter. And for me, being a Steadicam operator or even an AC that needs to build things quickly, that is a huge time saver, and it takes off so much weight of your rig, especially like other units have massive receivers, and it can weigh, some of them weigh literally multiple pounds. This motor here is maybe 1 pound, and it is super compact, it's very slim, and even the antenna that comes in the kit is literally this big. You just screw it on right here and boom, it's ready to go. So there's also a couple other features to point out on the motor, which aren't totally straightforward, and it did actually take me a few minutes to totally understand this, which is the channel settings. On the left-hand side of the back, you'll see it says R1, G2, B3. So what this allows you to do is change the way that a motor is mapped. So if you see the red light on the motor, that means it's currently mapped to focus. Now the G being 2, I believe that means that it is now mapped to iris. The reason I haven't fully tested this out is because I've never needed my master to be mapped to anything other than focus. So if you have 2 of these sets and you want to pull 2 focus units at the same time, you can map them both to focus, have them daisy chained, and be controlling 2 focus knobs at the same time with 1 focus wheel. The last thing to pay attention to on the motor, and this will say it on the back as well, is the speed settings. So if you tap the button on the bottom 5 times, it will change the speed at which the motor moves. Now, it's not technically changing the torque, it's just allowing you to have a more sensitive control over it. But in regards to torque for this motor, so far I have not had any issues with it. I've thrown Cooks at it, I've thrown still lenses at it, I've thrown ingenues at it, and it's handled it all pretty well. I have noticed, for instance, with say the super speeds, which are a little bit harder to throw and have a longer barrel, that did put up more of a fight for the motor, but not enough that it actually interfered with my ability to operate the unit. I just noticed that I could tell on the fastest setting, it wasn't pulling the lens quite as quickly on, say, a Cook. The main transmitter of this kit, which is the focus wheel, looks like this. And the wheel you can put a couple different marking discs on it. So it comes with these rubber marking discs, which also glow in the dark. And so you can just use like a Stedler or an Expo, and it comes off really easily. I think the kit comes with 3. And the knob turns real nicely. It has this really nice tense feel to it, so you have really good control over it. It's very hard to knock the wheel and it spins. You have to really deliberately apply force, and it feels just right. It also has a little screw-in hole for a lanyard, and on the back, on the bottom, is the on and off button, which is also the channel button. You can plug it in here for charging, and there's also a 5-volt 1-amp out for charging your iPhone. So all you do to connect your phone to the hand unit is you download the Remote Air app from the App Store, which is free, and you turn on your Bluetooth, open the app, and this little light on the back will turn red to green when it tells you the pairing is successful. Okay, so when you open the app, you'll notice that the focus, iris, and zoom controls are separated by vertical lines. So it's very easy to see. It's just black on white, very simple interface, and it's nothing too complex or crowded. There's no extra information. It's just the values right in front of you. And what it will do is it allows you to set every single marking on the lens manually. Or what you can do is you can download lens information online, but for all the shoots I've been doing, I've just been pre-programming them myself and then storing them on the phone. So that allows you to just access them later. One thing about this unit you'll notice is that the hand unit does not have other wheels for iris and zoom. If you want to, say, control your zoom and your focus simultaneously, what you have to do is you have to control your zoom with the app and then the focus with the wheel. The app does offer a ton of different features, some of which I am totally in love with. It has internally programmed hard stops. If you set A and B marks on your focus or your iris, it tells your phone when you hit those stops and the phone will send you a vibration. So it gives you a nice physical feedback if you need to actually focus on what's in front of you rather than looking at the screen. Another neat feature is that you can set on the zoom control, you can set an A and B point and also a time. So say for instance, if you wanted to go from 15 millimeters to 25 millimeters, you can set all of those settings internally and hit the go button and it will do all of that for you. The app also does allow you to change the direction of focus. So say for instance, if you're using a lens that doesn't turn in the traditional direction of focusing closer, you can reverse the direction and then you can have your normal set for clockwise being closer or counterclockwise being farther. There's also a couple other neat features on the app. For instance, you can do pinch zooming to change the resolution of the markings on the screen. You can also collapse menus, so if you're just looking at iris and focus, you can maximize those screens kind of like on a computer and just look at those things. Or on the zoom control, there's also like a tiny little wheel that you can adjust with just your finger, and that allows you to smoothly change the zoom up and down. That's really all there is to the app. There's a couple other niche little things that you can do, but those are really the features in a nutshell. So to calibrate the motor, it is super simple and literally takes seconds. All you have to do is once the motor is connected to the lens, hit the auto button on the transmitter. The motor will find the stops and that's it. The calibration is done. You can also hit the auto button on the touchscreen of the iPhone and that will calibrate the lens as well. What's nice is that you also don't technically have to use a cell phone when you're using the hand control. You really only have to use an iPhone when you're controlling the iris or the zoom independently of the focus. Which that brings me to the one downside that I see of this unit, and it's that because it's operating off of Bluetooth, which isn't technically the fastest and has a latency, you will notice that if you control the focus, iris, or zoom with your touchscreen, there is probably about an 1/8 second delay between that and the motor. I've also noticed that the range on the unit is pretty solid. There have been times when I'm behind thick walls or I'm relatively farther than say 100 feet, I'll notice that the unit does tend to drop signal for a moment. So I'll notice that if I turn the wheel, it will take a second or two before the motor catches up and then turns. But when I'm close range between say maybe 25, 50 feet, I haven't had any latency issues at all. So at this price point, I gotta say, it is pretty game-changing to be able to have a full focus, iris, and zoom control with complete auto mapping and reliability. Most other units that are able to offer professional features like this are only giving you just focus control, and the receivers that are built in that you have to install physically on the camera somewhere are bulky and huge, and they take more time to set up. So that's really all there is to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.